Alright, what we're going to get to see is Miss Jackie Williams walking us through one of the many notebooks she filled with concept sketches for the Watch Your Angel Tarot deck.
I did go through a lot of notebooks while working on the tarot. Not every page and every notebook got filled, but a lot of the pages did. These were some of the earliest of the drawings, and my style changed radically as I progressed, but this would be the original for the Eight of Swords. I don't fully render an entire image most of the time when I'm creating the concept. Sometimes the concepts are better done in paint, and so I'll come up with, say, the base image and then move it right to the board and worry about all the backgrounds and any of the details, or sometimes even the shading, once I get it onto the page. I don't really need to fully develop the idea here.
Do you have the original of the Five of Cups painting and the new one? Because one thing, this is the Five of Cups, but it is not the Five of Cups that you get to see on the webpage. The Five of Cups is one of the only cards that, well, that one and the High Priestess were the two where the style had changed enough that we opted to have them redone entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So this Five of Cups, which was with a stock model, is not the Five of Cups that you actually see in the finished tarot. The Five of Cups that you see in the finished tarot has a live model, one of our friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the High Priestess, which also got redone, has a live model. She may possibly look a little familiar.
Not me. I don't destroy any cards that we decide to remake, and believe me, these were not the only two failed attempts. When we were first starting the design, we had so many failed attempts.
Oh god, yeah.
Failure to flies left and right. And actually it was the Sun card that I wound up doing where I submitted it, and I'm thinking to myself, if she doesn't like the Sun card, I quit. I think I had been through 15 or so cards at that point, and at that point I think I'd been through like three fully painted suns as we tried to find the style of the deck. But, you know, these two, the High Priestess and the Five of Cups, had actually made it to the deck, but in the progression of the drawing and my art style and everything, they just no longer fit as we graduated to the end of the deck.
One of the original concepts for the what the goblets and the cups will look like.
Yeah. Original ideas for just basic sketches. I mean, really.
The wand didn't change much
No.
from the original thing. Help me out here.
Yeah.
Where is my... There was my idea for the sword. Rather, yeah, a little overdone.
Elaborate. The wand, we stayed pretty true to form. I cleaned up the design a bit, but it's pretty true to what Michelle had originally put together. Serpents intertwining. I raised the wings and did something a little different there, so it was more wand-like.
And pentacles also, with the idea of the two intertwined pentacles. That was something that started off with me pretty early with this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as folks may already know, this notebook is where I transferred some of the original sketches, and this is 2002, where I started to really formalize my ideas, some sketches of the cards in my not-so-great artistic stuff. I will say I kind of wouldn't mind that as a tattoo, to be perfectly honest.
It does make a nice tattoo. And the wand style didn't change dramatically. The pentacle style did not change at all. A cup is a cup. I mean, really. This is the drawing for the cup, the Ace of Cups. This was the original High Priestess, which you can see is a totally different style from what I'm doing currently.
One of the other choices that we were making as we were designing this is the tarot is not something that was dreamt up yesterday. It has a very, very long tradition and in a lot of ways a very set symbol system. Just about everybody who reads tarot is familiar with the Rider-Waite, which is probably more appropriately called the Coleman-Smith Waite, because the designer was A.E. Waite, and the artist was Pamela Coleman Smith. She usually gets forgotten, but she was a very impressive occultist in her own right. Anyway, soapbox. Let me remove myself from it. But one of the things, bring me back here. That's okay.
One of the things we wanted.
Well, is we were trying to stick with some of the imagery of the high priestess holding the Torah, or at least being the keeper of a book, and, you know, the moon and the star. And she did not make the cut. It probably doesn't help that she sort of looks like a porn star.
Yeah, pretty much. But other examples of some of the early stuff, this does go back. I mean, we're talking, this stuff was done in probably 2008. So, very different concepts from then to now, to what we have now. I had done, I try and plan out all of my shading and lay out the base of the card on paper so that I don't mess up the art paper. This is the Magician, the original for the Magician.
He didn't change a whole lot.
He didn't change a whole lot. I do work from models when I draw. It's really important to have references for anatomy when you're drawing, because when you're drawing and you're not using references, it's pretty evident when things are not proportionate. Even if they're off by a little bit, you can tell. Skipping ahead to some of the more fun stuff. Let's see. Random. There's the Seven of Pentacles. Skip ahead. Hey, look, it's our card box. This is the original for the Hermit. As you can see, pretty rough drawn, did the basic layout, but everything, a lot of the details, a lot of the shading, everything I want to do for a card, it's all done in color, and so just put it straight onto the page and worry about all the details as I'm painting. Because in my head, a lot of times in my head, the painting is finished. Doesn't matter if the sketch isn't finished. For instance, this is the Ten of Swords. Where are the swords? Where's the guy on the shore? Doesn't really matter. I mocked it out and then moved that straight on to the page because the painting was done in my head. A lot of that happens. So,
what is that Michelangelo quote? I saw the angel and released him from the stone.
Yeah, you remove the stone from around the sculpture that already exists there. This is the Queen of Wands.
Once again, let me point out, Miss Jackie Williams has a bit of a love affair with drapery and costuming.
Very evident as the deck progresses into the later portions.
What you probably don't know, she's also a fairly talented seamstress.
I do a lot of costumes with the SCA. So I did a lot of theater in college. Death. There is death. Reasonably developed sketch of that.
Alright.
And as we progress, there's the original for the Nine of Swords. The Ring Wraith. Ring Wraiths of the Swords. Let's see what else we got here. Anything good? That's a more developed image. This was the Four of Swords.
Yet another one done with a friend who's a model, or who is modeling for us.
Who's modeling for us, yeah. Let's see, that's the original for the Star.
It's actually the same model, by the way.
Model.
Several of these show different faces of friends. In a couple of cases, even gender is changed. I served as a body model for a number of cards, if not a face model, just to block out exactly how the hands and arms and legs and everything would go.
Okay. Six of Cups. This was a friend of mine in the SCA. She made a really good model. She looks really good in Code Hardy's. I'm awfully jealous. And Judgment. Again, the figure's drawn, but everything that you see in the cards obviously doesn't appear here. Sort of work out your ideas.
My, what a long sword he has.
This was, I never really finished the sketch.
It's the
Could
Empress.
never really decide what I wanted for the hair. The hair pretty much worked itself out on the card. You can tell by all of the erasure marks that I went through. King of Swords.
Same model as Judgment. It's a little easier to see in the sketches. They take shape and, I think, individualize in the paintings.
Moving on. Yep.
Boobs.
Yeah.
Not work safe. Drawn charcoal, pencil boobs, but boobs nevertheless.
Let's see.
This is the High Priest, also known as the Hierophant. And as the boobs attest, we do not have a High Priest who is male.
Well, when you look at the Rider-Waite deck, I didn't realize that the
Pope?
that it was the Pope. That the Hierophant was actually a guy. When I looked at the card, it was a girl in a dress.
Here I thought you were being remarkably anti-establishmentarianism or something.
And innovative? No, I thought the Rider-Waite deck showed it as a girl, and I was like, whatever.
Doctrinal authority doesn't have to be a patriarchy.
Exactly. This was original for the Lovers. Didn't like it. Again, didn't like it. Moved on. Sometimes when you don't have a card that's working, when it's... A card decides when it's time to be drawn, and you can't force it. That's why none of the cards were ever done in order, in sequence of anything.
The only sequence we held to is the very last card was the world.
It had to be. The first card of the deck was the Fool, and the last card was the World. The first card was the Fool because I thought, well, I'll just go in order, and I pretty rapidly found that the cards did not want to be in any kind of order. So it was like giving myself a tarot reading as I was making the deck. The cards came to me in whatever order was going on in my life. Sometimes I can't really tell when the card stopped or started.
And what the hell was going on in
was
your
going
world?
on in my world.
Again, yeah, trust me.
So, sometimes I would try and draw an image and I would get really frustrated because I just couldn't find it, I couldn't find it. So I'd have to move on, and other cards would occur in the interim. So this is the Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles. And then I tried again for, I think that was the Lovers,
the
and
Lovers again.
Continued with that same concept, and the card was just like, no.
And...
But that's what I came up with for the Lovers. And I thought, well, I kind of like that. And that's what we have. Final for Lovers. Strength.
A parallel to the Lovers.
Mm-hmm. And a tribute to Alphonse Mucha. Very much love his work, and tried to incorporate a little bit of that with the Star card and with this card. That's the original for the Two of Wands, which I didn't like, and it's eventually just sort of grown on me.
Yeah, same here. We were both kind of like, we might redo this one. And then I kind of like the primitivism of it.
The original for Temperance. I had this idea, I couldn't get it to fly. this is what I finally came up with, and was very influenced by the grayscale painting of the French artists in the 14th century, which is why the top half is gray, to represent spirit and sort of out of body, and the bottom half is in color, so that you have to find a balance between worlds. Loved this one. We,
Note, artist loves, there's drapery.
yeah. This was 9 of Cups when it was originally drawn.
Yep.
And the concept worked much better for the 7, so I actually just had to eliminate 2 cups out of it.
The 9 eventually came to us. It took a little while.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think
We're
that might
almost
be...
done. We're actually over 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
as much as they have approved me for much longer on YouTube, I don't know
Yeah.
how much longer than 15 minutes.
10 of Pentacles, rough sketch. But that's pretty much one notebook and a whole bunch of cards from it that just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, just do a quick flip through, and we will bid you all adieu.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who have picked up Founders decks, pieces of this is what you will be getting. Alright. Say goodbye, Jackie.
Goodbye, Jackie. Yeah, you knew I was going to do that.
Oh, of course.